Hello, welcome back to the Scale Modelling Cafe. Welcome to another Sprue Tour. And the subject of this video is this little thing down here, the Airfix Mk.3 in 1/72 scale. I've wanted to build this kit for a very, very long time. I am a basic fast jet flying instructor, and this is the, well, 2 aeroplanes ago from what I fly. I currently fly the PC-21. I have flown the Tucano, instructed on that, and obviously the Tucano, or sorry, this was the Tucano's predecessor. So that's one reason. Another reason is, having seen quite a few builds on the internet over the years, it looks like a really nice little kit. And there's just something about it. This kit, as you'll see, is moulded in the new dark grey plastic, which means the moulds or the plastic parts are even more crisp than they were. The panel lines on even in the old soap plastic were relatively refined for new Airfix. I am going to do a bit of a job on this though. I am going to build this fairly soon. I am going to just run a scriber down all the panel lines and then just sand them down just a little bit where required, just to refine them even more. But it doesn't need to be done. That's just me being really fussy. But it doesn't need to be done, as you'll see in a second. What I've got for my build is I've got some aftermarket. I've got some Edward photo etch, and I've got some Barracuda seats. Not subject to this video. I'm just going to concentrate on the plastic. But straight from the box, this will look like a really nice model. Mine, I just want to take it to the next level. Right. Enough blah, let's go over to the bench and let's see what's in the box.
Okay, here we are then at the bench. First thing, beautiful box art. Aeroplane soaring over the fields of Yorkshire. A little bit of gouge here, 9th of May 1990, Flight Lieutenant Julie Gibson performed her first solo jet flight. Flight Lieutenant Gibson was the first full-time female RAF pilot. First solo would have been just done in the circuit, so yeah, this picture not appropriate for that particular mission, but anyway, beautiful picture. And yeah, our little personal connection, because this flew from Linton, and I spent a few happy years teaching on Tucano at Linton. So everything in a plastic bag. I've already opened it, and not only have I already had a look in here, I've actually already reviewed it. I just forgot to turn the microphone on. So this is take 2. I've got some aftermarket bits for my build. More of that in the part 1 when I actually make the model. That's it. Fairly simple kit this. It's going to go together relatively quickly, I would say. Obviously, all starts in the cockpit. You've got a quite nicely detailed tub with control columns, central pedestal, 3-part ejection seats going on with some wiring harness. Here is one of the Airfix team. I really love that. Really nice touch. Bit of sense of humour. Oh, 4-part ejection seat. You got the top bit. You might want to replace the pull handle with a piece of wire. Decal going onto the instrument panel. Talk about that when we look at the decal sheet. Telling you to put 2.5 grams of nose weight in. I'd always put more in. And the whole thing is black. So even though there is some cockpit detail, and it's going to be relatively difficult to see, don't use a pure black, use a very dark grey or something. Empennage goes on before the wings. Interesting way of doing this is the single piece wing going on first, and then once that's in place, the 2-piece upper wings go down. Be interested to see how that works. I may well do it traditionally and glue the upper wing parts to the lower wing. Might make it easier just to sort the seams out first. We shall see. Opening up the holes for the stand, which is not supplied here. You have to buy that separately. But this would be a really good subject to stick on a stand, I reckon. Don't forget to paint the inside of your intakes first before gluing the outer halves on. Gear doors were closed on the ground. The gear doors were only open during the retraction sequence. This is the wheels up and this is the wheels down. Aerial going on. Maybe you want to replace that with a bit of plastic card, a little bit of added refinement. Same for the one on the top. And then putting the canopy on and you're done. So really quick and simple build. This is the scheme I'm going to be doing because Julie Gibson actually did her solo from Dishworth, and my first solo in Tucano was from Dishworth. So I'm definitely going to do this. I also lived at Dishworth for 6 months when I got posted to my tornado squadron at Leeming. It was the nearest place we could get a house. There we go. And there's a little bit of gouge about Julie Gibson herself. She joined in 84 as a bluntie, transferred to pilot. She was one of the first to apply. She went to, there you go, Linton on News, Finningley, and she ended up on the Andover and the Herc because they weren't allowed to fly fast jets initially, the ladies. Obviously that changed later. Right, and here we are. This is the other version, silver and orange from Crantanimo, as it's called, but very colourful again. But I'm going to do the red and white one because of the reasons I said before. You get this sheet as well, which is all your stencils. Again, very busy. Straight into the plastic. Obviously, I've already opened it for the reasons I've explained before. Let's take this one first. First thing is, obviously, this is in their new dark grey plastic. And the advantage of this is it's harder and it really makes the moulds a lot more crisp. So if you've got an earlier boxing of this in the sort of soapy light blue-grey plastic, do you know what? You know, go ahead and build it if you like. But if you're thinking about getting a JP, then try and get one of these later boxings. Let's bring you in. That's really nice panel line detail. I may leave that. I may just run a very sharp scriber over that and give it a gentle sand and knock it back a little bit. But that's brilliant. Solid nose light here, look. So I may well end up drilling that out and putting a little bit of sprue there and sanding it down and polishing that back. Here's parts of your seats with the harness on. That's quite nice. No detail on the instrument panel, but you can easily get away with that with the Decal 72nd scale. Some nice detail on the cockpit tub. Again, nice and crisp, helped by this new plastic. And raised detail on the rudder. I don't think that's fabric. I think that's metal. I don't know if that's just strengthening stuff. Don't know. Little bit of a texture on the inside, as you can see there, on the inside of the intakes, but that's easily polished out. And your two options for your nose wheel leg, obviously here with the closed doors and the little open doors to allow the leg to poke out. Some detail on the inside of the cockpit there. Again, as I mentioned, it's a black cockpit, so you ought to paint that in a dark grey. A little bit of dry brushing or some watercolour action. Not watercolour, what am I talking about? Acrylic. Some glazes, and that'll bring that out nicely, I reckon. Upper wing halves, some really nice detail here. Fuel filler caps, nicely detailed. Nice panel lines, again sharp, crisp. I'd say slightly deeper than the most refined manufacturers out there, but you could, yeah, easily get away with that. It's really, really well done actually. So that's frame C. Frame B, one-piece lower wing. Lots of nice raised detail here. These panels. Yeah, maybe a little bit pronounced, but that'll be fine. I might just run a sanding stick over them, just a little bit though. Nice hinge detail, all nice and crisp. Obviously raised gear doors. It is solid here. Obviously that should be open. You could, if you wanted to, drill that out. I'm probably going to leave it. A little bit of detail on the side of the ejection seats. A little bit of flash or mould seam to remove on the control columns, but easily done. One piece tailplane elevators with the raised detail. Very crisp, very nice. Flat spotted tyres. Nice hub detail. That'll take a wash nicely. Yeah, really good. Really good moulding. Clear parts. Beautifully clear. Little bit of distortion. Slightly thick. But I'd say on the thick side of acceptable. So it's in the acceptable bracket. Now this panel here is on the inside on the real aeroplane. So I'm going to be probably sanding down all this raised detail, and then I'll just mask and spray, and I'll be spraying that on the inside there, and that'll thin that down just a little bit, taking the frames down. That's what I'm going to do, but if you just wanted to mask and paint, you'll have no problem. Two canopies, open and closed. Obviously this is slightly bigger. Closed, useful to have if you're going to do the open option, because you use this to mask off the cockpit. There we are. Oh, right, I'll just leave that there. I was going to use the lid of the box. Right, all in all, really impressed with this. It makes a really big difference, this new plastic. I'm so glad they've done it. If that puts up the prices, I'm happy to pay extra. And yeah, really nicely moulded, and should result in a quick build and a beautiful little model for your display case. Right, let's nip back over to the chair and have a bit of a wash up.
There we are. That's the Airfix JP. As you can see, it's a really, really nice little kit, and with a careful paint job, it'll be a really nice model sat on your shelf. There's lots of boxings of this out there. It's fantastic for the new modeler or the modeler getting back in the hobby. There are starter sets out there as well. It quite regularly pops up in the Lidl and Aldi central aisle when they do those promotions, and yeah, looks like a lovely, lovely little kit, and I'm really looking forward to getting started, and it'll be a nice refresher after the massive project that is the Spitfire Mark 12 32nd scale conversion that I'm about to start imminently, and this is probably going to be next on the bench after that as a bit of a palette cleanser. There we are. I'll leave it there. Lovely little kit, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers, bye bye.